I'd like to welcome you all to the Recreation Commission meeting of March 3rd, 2025. Would you all please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on our agenda this evening is the approval of the minutes of February 10, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Before we vote on the minutes, the chair would just note that when we went into executive session, and this isn't our secretary's fault, I think the commissioner, the chairman at the time, mentioned that we would be adjourning directly from executive session. Actually, we returned to public session for the purposes of adjournment only. So I would just suggest on item 9 at the end, it reads, the Recreation Commission will be returning to public session for the purposes of adjournment only. Okay? That's what we actually did, so we'll do it that way, but that's what I think the chair inadvertently had said, so Julie had it in there. So with that minor amendment, are there any further comments on the minutes? Seeing none, we'll put that motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The chair votes aye. That's 3-0-0, Julie. Okay, the next item on our agenda this evening is public participation. Is there anyone here for public participation? Seeing none, we will move on. Prior to the Director of the Parks and Recreation report, we have an item under new business for the recognition of Mr. Ken Pondelli. The chair would like to take that item out of order. Is there any objection or opposition? Seeing none, then we will move down to new business. Brendan, recognition of Mr. Kenneth Pondelli.
Yes, thank you very much. We are fortunate to have very dedicated part-time staff, volunteers that work hard for the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department. They're involved in programs and events, and make sure we're running well-run, safe, and enjoyable programs and events for all of our participants. When I started with the department back in 1999, I met Mr. Ken Pondelli and quickly realized that he was not only a phenomenal person, but a great volunteer and part-time staff for us. So through his hard work and dedication, it really shows what Burlington Parks and Recreation Department is all about. But Ken, as I mentioned, I met him in 1999. He's worked and coached and volunteered for the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department for over 30 years, teaching youth sports, volunteering at Celebrate Burlington. Some great pictures of Ken and Paul Ganley hanging basketball hoops from the light posts on the town common back when Celebrate Burlington was Pride Day, and a lot of makeshift games and events and things like that. So there's some great pictures there, but he also umpired the Burlington Pride softball tournament for years, and put together a crew to come and volunteer their time and do that event as well. So through all of it, you could always find Kenny with a smile on his face. And we are fortunate to have him. So he is instrumental in developing our youth in-town basketball program as well as a travel program before it went private. And he is responsible for teaching or coaching thousands of Burlington youth throughout his years with the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department. So this past fall and early winter, we had a couple staff, long-serving staff and volunteers that were hanging up their shoes, so to speak, and we thought it was fitting to take a minute and honor them. And tonight we'd like to honor Ken. If you'd like to come up to the microphone. I don't think you have to turn it on. The green light's on, so some might say giving Ken an open mic, an opportunity to talk. We could be here very late. But
Right off the bat, I have a little bronchitis, so I'm a little bit short. But I will tell you this, as far as a job, it wasn't really a job. It was something I loved to do. And quite frankly, it was an honor to be a part of the Recreation Department, because this is what it is. Burlington residents really rely on Burlington's participation, across the board, age-wise, from young to the very old. And the programs that the Recreation Department puts out touches everyone in this town. We don't have a boys' club. We don't have a YMCA. What we have is the finest recreation department around. And that's because of Brendan, Kelly, Emma, and Jeff. So thank you very much for the honor, and I appreciate it, really do.
All right, comments from the commissioners. Mr. Norton?
Well, Ken, thank you very much for giving back to the community for 30 years. I know myself, I've always tried to give back to the community, but to do that through the Recreation Department, giving your services to various types of all the programs that we have, especially the programs that Emma runs and, youth and all the, that shows that you have a huge heart, and I really appreciate everything that you've given back to this Recreation Department. I know these two really appreciate it, and that's why you're here tonight, and I really want to thank you for your service to our community. Thank you very much.
It was very difficult for me to recognize there is a middle, beginning, a middle, and an end to almost everything. And you recognize when you love the game of basketball, like I did, as a player, as an instructor, as a coach, and now still as a referee. Sometimes this is my last farewell, I think, for reffing too, but it's something I'm always going to be proud of. The affiliation with Burlington's, I look at Burlington's teams and how competitive they are, and I realize we are one of the few towns in the Middlesex League that does not have a middle school program. And I've had coaches everywhere say, how do you compete at this level when you don't have a bona fide program for middle school? I said, simple, it's the Recreation Department. And it was that from day one. When I first met Bob McGee, who I was fortunate to work with in my real job, he brought me in and said, I think you'd be perfect for this. And Bob McGee was right on. He knew that first I loved kids, and I realized too, I had 3 daughters, and our affiliation with basketball for the girls was strictly CYO. So I contacted Dennis Dobel and Dennis Thompson, and we made plans to affiliate with the Recreation Department. It was so gracious that they took us on. And with Mike Tickenoff running the boys, me running the girls, we had 475 kids from 3rd grade to the 8th grade running in-town programs. And it was really successful, very, very successful. Obviously, at one point or another, it's always important to have volunteers. You just can't run a program, as I'm sure Brendan would realize, and Kelly, you can't do it without people helping. And I have been so lucky to have so many people give me a hand, stand up, parents, and say, I can do this, and it was the only way a program can be successful. So, and obviously, everything starts from the top. And sort of Brendan's and Kelly's ability to really coordinate everything made it so much easier for us to run programs. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And like you said, talking about your comments, I know the Burlington High teams this year both made the states.
Amazing.
I know the girls won a couple games and stuff, so it all starts when they're young.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And to get involved and, make a difference in a child's life. And you see them 20 years later, like you're doing this 30 years, you're seeing kids that are now 30, 40,
Yep.
you're shaking their hands, you see them at an event, and that, makes your heart feel good. So congratulations.
Thank you. One of the things that, before I leave, because I can go on forever with this, but the mere fact that I had my daughters run through the program, then I coached them, and I also coached the boys, but the real effects were to sit in the stands, and sometimes I actually ran the BCAT and did play-by-play for them. So it was really kind of like amazing to see from 3rd grade to the 12th grade the success in how much these kids improved their game. Some, not all, obviously, played in college, And you take pride in that. When you're part of that program, you say, maybe I had a little bit to do with this, not a whole lot. We have a girl playing at Assumption College, and she is this, Callahan's her last name. She's in her last year. She will be the leading scorer at Assumption College when she finishes this year. She's just amazing. And she was pretty much, I think she was a co-MVP in the Middlesex League in her senior year. It was the pandemic year. Burlington girls went undefeated, and unfortunately, there was no tournament,
Okay,
because they would have been state champs for sure.
wow.
But again, thank you very much for 40 years of plus service was appreciated very much.
Anything else? Did you?
No, just echo the other commissioners' comments. It's great to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while, and hope your daughter's doing well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Just a couple things, Ken, before you go. You and I were chatting before the meeting, and I think it said in our backup, that you've been volunteering for over 30 years. I thought it was longer than that. I think I just heard you say 40, and
about
that's
40,
more
yeah.
consistent with what I remember, but,
I think what I did is I kind of like put the CYO program together, and then brought them into the rec department.
Yeah.
I kind of added those on to the, that was a non-paid situation. It was very nice that they actually paid me for something I love.
I'm going to go way back. I don't know if you remember this. This is going way, way back. I played on a CYO team when I was very young. Do you know who my coach was? I think one of the first coaches?
Coughlin? Or no, maybe, wasn't Rich Langen. I know he was.
Might be before. It was Kyle Yastrzemski's brother, Dick.
Oh, my God.
Dick Yastrzemski was
He
my
lived in-
first CYO coach. Yeah.
He lived in Burlington?
Yeah, and then it might have been Bedford, but he was the Burlington CYO coach, and then Denny Thompson, I think, took over after he left. He only did it, I think, for a year or two. But a lot of people don't remember Dick Yastrzemski. Goes way back.
I certainly
But,
didn't.
I thank you as well. I mean, I can't think of anybody more deserving of recognition. I mean, you put in so many hours, and you can tell it's a labor of love.
Yeah,
And I remember seeing you down at the rubber gym during the travel team games, and you were always there, whether you were coaching or reffing or just wanted to be down there around all the kids. And
my father took me to one game in Boston, at the Boston Celtics, and he said, I want you to see one game, and in those days, the Celtics were not, there really wasn't a lot of crowds.
Yeah.
So we were able to sit right behind one of the baskets, and I couldn't believe that when I watched Bill Russell play, and he was playing against Chamberlain, who at that time was playing for the Warriors, Philadelphia Warriors.
yeah.
And they were, I just seeing this little guy, just Bob Cousy, dribble the ball between his legs, around his back, making shots where his shoulders were going this way and the ball was going this way. And I said, I tried everything I could do to mimic this player. And from that point, I think I was like maybe 10 years old. And that was the first sign of real true love of basketball.
Yeah.
It's
Good
crazy.
story. Well, thanks again for
Thanks.
all of your years of service to the town of Burlington. We deeply appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have a little token of our appreciation, just small, that we'd like to give Ken, and maybe we could get a quick picture with the commission.
Kelly, you gotta go.
We have this picture frame, Rose Park and Rec picture frame. We found a great picture of your softball crew, but you can change it out to anything you want. And beautiful. So you don't forget us. I'm sure this won't be your only Burlington Parks and Recreation paraphernalia, but we have a nice sweatshirt for you. If the size isn't right, let me know. We can swap it out.
I wear it home, so.
Okay. But if we could get a quick picture up here. Take it.
Sure do. One, two, three. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, Brendan, are you ready?
I am.
Next item is the Director of Parks and Recreation report.
All right, thank you. Just a quick update with our maintenance. Members of our maintenance team recently took part in a welding workshop through the UMass Amherst College of Engineering, UMass Transportation Center. There's a mouthful. The workshop was held in our facility and focused on the basics of welding, including the different types of welding equipment, the gases, and proper techniques. We hope to offer this class again, as well as they have an advanced version for those who have completed the intro workshop. They were only able to take 3 in the class at a time. We had a couple more that wanted to take it, so we're hopefully going to be able to offer another one. Might not be until next winter. They only offer it a few times a year, so we were fortunate to have their instructor out. With the last week's warmer temperatures, calmer weather, we were able to get back to removing some of the remaining, lights on the town common. All we have left are some lights over at Simon's on the trees there. And our staff also worked on clearing out the old wood shop up at Overlook Park, and quickly filled a 40-yard dumpster with the items that came out of there. And then we have some additional debris that have collected over the years behind the building that we'll be removing, I believe, this week. As long as the weather cooperates this week, we'll be able to get that stuff out of there. And then in the coming weeks, we will begin removal of the Wildmere Playground. The existing equipment and surface need to be removed to make way for the new playground and poured-in-place surface. Plan is to have the playground ready by early May. Obviously, weather plays a role in this project. Once we can get the items out of the ground and get them into a dumpster and out of there, then the contractor can come in and start installing the playground. The poured-in-place surface has to be, I believe we have to have 2 or 3 days consecutive of 50-ish weather, anywhere from 45 up. So the warmer the better for that surface to set in place. This is a project that the equipment was delayed arriving to us last fall and didn't get to us until the temperatures had dropped and we couldn't get the surface in. So and we felt it was best to leave the playground there for the winter so residents could take advantage of it. My next item, the Overlook Park project. We recently began our bi-weekly meetings with Weston and Sampson on the renovation of the park. And Captain Hannafin from the Burlington Fire Department attended the meeting to review the clearances and provide feedback for the fire engines access on the site. We also discussed stormwater areas and the need to have test pits dug before the permitting process begins. And Weston and Sampson provided us with the locations for the pits. They've been dig-safed, and the plan is to go out and do the test pits this week. And we've also been working on on-site amenities such as playground equipment, as well as playground equipment and electrical. So as the project moves forward, I gave this, Kelly was away, so I gave the update this time, but Kelly will probably be providing the future updates. We're looking forward. Our timeline is tight, but I think we're optimistic that we can get it, accomplish the timeline, so.
If I could just slow you down for 1 second.
Sure.
On the project. Does anybody have any questions on Overlook before we move on to some of the other items? Because I do have 1 or 2 quick ones.
Well, on Overlook, so when you guys are going through how big the playground's going to be, is it going to be extensively bigger than it is now? Or is it the same?
Roughly the same.
Roughly the same.
Roughly the same, okay, yeah. The same area? Now, where are we going, do you think? Because it's right behind the Playhouse now.
Yeah, it'll come out, I don't know how to explain it. By where the building, the burnt-out building was?
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's coming.
little
all right.
forward
Yeah.
and towards the front entrance a little.
Yeah, because I want to be able to
It's
see it a
not-
little
it
bit
won't be
better, because you
hidden
can never,
behind.
like, when you go in, you never saw it, you know what I mean? Because it was sort of like, especially when we had the other buildings there.
Yeah.
obviously with the buildings gone now, I'll be able to see it, but that'll be a huge improvement for us, so that's important. But, yeah, that's just a quick
Okay,
question.
anything from you, Jeremy, on that?
Nope.
My question, has Weston and Sampson, are they putting together like a set of permit plans to submit to the planning board? And if they've done it and they're completed it, could you have them send us the plans so we can see them, email them to us?
Yeah, they're not complete yet. So we have the conceptual plan. They are tweaking that. They're waiting, the property is being surveyed, so the topographical map will have to be completed there. And then that tells them what other things they have to do for the finalized plans. Can you remind me of the time schedule for that?
Yeah, we're hoping to have it done by the beginning of April,
Okay.
which is pretty ambitious, which is why Brendan says that the tight timeline, because of the planning board schedule, we want to try to get on in early May if possible. So as soon as we get something, we surely will pass it along.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Working on it.
I assume we're going to need a permit from the planning board. Do we need conservation approval as well?
Yep.
Do we need zoning board approval? Special permits or anything that they have to issue?
No, we've included these departments in our plans up to this point. They've been involved in meetings, and so we've gotten everything from them that they're going to require.
Okay, Board of Health, does they have to approve the stormwater management aspect of the plans?
I believe they will have to have a say in it, and I believe Weston and Sampson has reached out to them about potentially being on site when they do the test pits. So the test pits will also have to be done so that they can finalize where the stormwater management areas will be.
Okay, so we need to get through 3 different boards in town before we can move forward with plans that have been approved. So that, hopefully we can expedite the town's review of those
We
items.
hope so as well.
We think the town's going to be a great partner
All
in
right, keep
that.
us posted, and thank you for the update on that.
The next item I have, just budget. We'll be meeting with the full Ways and Means Committee next Wednesday, March 12th at 7 o'clock in the main hearing room at Town Hall to review the FY26 budget and answer any questions they may have. And then capital budget, I did confirm today. We are on the schedule for capital budget next Tuesday night, March 11th at 7 PM as well. And I believe Chair Carlson is available to attend.
What time?
7 PM, and that's in the Town Hall Annex basement. Okay? And then the next item I have is,
Just a quick
Sure.
point of clarification, on the Wednesday, March 12th meeting at Ways and Means, is that the time that we're slotted to be there, or is everybody on at 7?
everybody, the agenda says 7 o'clock for everybody.
All right.
I don't know where they'll take us
Okay.
in that
Is the
process.
School committee on that night? Do you know?
Take a look. We had a lot of meetings over the next few
Yeah.
weeks. The 11th and the 25th. Nope, it's facility assessment for that. It's the 11th and,
So, no, the 12th, I mean, is Ways and Means. They're not doing school committee that night, are they, Jeremy?
no. Nope. would be
Usually do it at the end of the month. I just
25th.
want to make sure we're...
I'll send you who's on the list. I don't have my calendar with me,
Okay.
my budget book with me. So, but yes. They're taking us, because of a commitment on the 19th, so they're taking us a week early, so kind of a guest of theirs, but
Okay, that's fine. No, that is
I
early.
don't mind asking.
That is early.
folks.
Sorry for the interruption, but
That's
I
okay.
just want to clarify that.
The next item I have, spring registration. The brochure was published last last Tuesday, and we will have registration tomorrow night, beginning at 6 PM, and then non-residents begins on the 25th. My last item is the Burlington Police Department will be holding a training in coordination with the Massachusetts State Police on Thursday, the 6th, here in Burlington. Part of the training involves drones and the state police helicopter. They have requested to use the field behind Center School to land the helicopter in the morning, and then while they're meeting at the police department, and then it'll be gone after that for the day. I don't have any big issues with that. It'll all be, advertised, promoted through the police department's social media, alerting neighbors and all of that, but if there's
Yeah,
any
Mike.
concerns here.
My only thought was I ought to post something on the over 55 development there. Some people,
I think
you know,
the
they're not actively
Littleton
involved.
Residents Network will be that's usually the hotbed of
At
helicopter
least
activity.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
let them know.
I know it. So maybe we had asked the police to post something right on the door over there, because not all of them are online.
Right. I will ask them to do a rave, the direct connect information. I think it used to be Code Red, but now
Grandview
it's
Farm,
rave.
or Grandview Commons, I think it is. Yeah.
Yes. That's all I have now.
Okay, any questions for the director on his report?
No.
No follow-up questions, good. All right, now we're going to move on to the Assistant Director of Parks and Rec, Kelly.
Thank you. My report is going to be very short and sweet, as I've been away for the most part of the last couple weeks. But I will report that I did attend the Special Event Summit in Savannah, Georgia, which was eye-opening. Got a really great experience learning about how communities across the country handle their special events, their safety plans, how they coordinate with all of the safety services departments. Came back with a lot of great ideas. So that's really all I have for my report.
Good.
My apologies.
No need to apologize. Short and sweet. Any questions for Kelly?
Just real quick, to the board, the chair. Cal, so tomorrow we'll be ready to go, no problem, everything's going, I'm sure we're anticipating a lot of,
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great. We've put out the appropriate information on social media. Spring registration is not as intense as summer registration. We are testing a couple things during spring so we can, fix any occurrences that might happen during that summer one. So we're hoping to catch any kind of problems now and move on from there. But I think we're good to go.
Yeah, I was happy to see the registration starts at 6 o'clock. I was in Billerica the other day, and they have a registration for a summer camp that starts at midnight.
Yeah.
And I know my daughter doesn't like to stay up until midnight to register for classes. Yeah, it starts at midnight, yeah.
Why do they do that?
Some departments like to do it the minute that it opens because, shift work or it makes it easier. I don't know. But everybody does registration how it suits their community best, and maybe that's why
that's
they've
interesting.
decided on midnight. I know there are a number of communities that do that. But part of the reason we changed from, because we used to do it at 8:30, and then we changed to 6 o'clock because it was better for a larger number of members in the community. I'm sure they're still not perfect for everybody. There's no perfect time for us to start registering, but I think we're kind of in the sweet spot with a 6 o'clock
I agree.
registration
I
time.
think it's as good as it gets.
yeah, because,
Yeah.
we gotta, I think that's a good time, so, the midnight, that's crazy, I think. Anyway.
Okay, we all set with Kelly? Any other questions, comments? Okay, we're going to move on. Chairman's report, I really have nothing to report. I'm sitting in tonight, as you know. I'm just pointing out, I guess, that it'd be nice to get the Ways and Means support on March 12th on our budget. I think we're within guidelines, it seems. Of course, every town department has to worry about negotiated settlements, and we're no different, but I think we have a very relatively lean budget, really, and I think hopefully we'll get the full support of Ways and Means Committee that night. And they've been good to us for many years. They're always fair, and they're always good to us. And so I'm looking forward to Wednesday, the 12th. I'll be up there that night. I'm not sure if Lindsay can make it. I don't. David said he
Yeah,
may
she'll
be
be
able to
there, yeah.
attend, so Jeremy, I know you've got a lot of meetings in
I'll
in
see if I can
April.
squeeze that one
Don't
in.
feel like you have to squeeze it in, but I know.
We got you.
We're happy to have you if you can make it. Okay, any subcommittee reports tonight?
One alibi for mine, Marshall Simons is coming along, notice of intent is moving. We did the first reading to the school committee and got pretty broad support for the proposed plan. So once the notice of intent is complete, we'll go back to school committee at the next meeting and get approval for our
Excellent.
field plan and move that forward, and hopefully be ready to go August, September with a bit of ribbon cutting.
Beautiful. One quick question, Jeremy. I remember some of the earlier iterations of the plans had a ball field. Did the final version of the plans have a ball field, or is it just multi-purpose?
So it's, right now, it's two multi-use fields oriented north-south, if you will. And then you can do soccer, lacrosse, field hockey. What's the other one? Yeah, soccer.
It was
field
two
hockey.
lacrosse,
Yeah.
male and female
Yeah,
lacrosse.
male and female lacrosse is the second one. And then, yeah, they have the terrace seating down the hill, the accessibility ramp, 3 accessible parking spaces on the Peach Orchard side parking lot. And then we did 2 ramps of the terrace seating fully paved, so those folks, if they wanted to, got a good vantage point up there. 2 scoreboards with a pretty wide field of view, so if you're sitting in the nature seating, you should be able to see the scoreboards for both fields. Walking path all the way around, and then access points for emergency vehicles on 2 entry points along with lighting.
Beautiful. Sounds good. Any questions on Jeremy's report?
Ah, that's a good one.
Thank you for giving us that update. That's exciting. All right, under new business, we've already taken care of the first item. The second item is policy review, first reading of the concussion policy. I'll turn it over to our director.
Yes, so in your packet that you received was the concussion policy. This was something, actually, Kelly, I'm jumping in on Kelly's, I jumped in on the program brochure registration as well. But the concussion policy was something that we were asked from the town's insurance provider if we had one, and if not, if we could develop one. This policy was taken from a few communities' concussion policies that Kelly looked up, and she reviewed and put one together. So we did have it here for you guys to review, and then if there's any comments on it, please let us know. We're also having town council review our policies as well. So especially, well, we'll get to an old business, but the concussion policy, they have that in their possession as well. And I know we had 2 other policies, our Corey policy and financial assistance, and I forgot to include those. So when we do the second reading of the, of the next policy that we're going to talk about, the, child abuse, I'll add those as well. I did not add them into the packet this week. I apologize.
So before we move on, I want to focus on the concussion policy first. Did you have any comments, Jeremy, or questions on that one?
No, I mean, it looked pretty standard to me. I mean, it's a good thing to have in place, so if something is an unfortunate accident, you can get folks back on their programs, and then there's a clear path to do that, so.
David, any comments?
Just real quick on the baseline, are we using, is it a national policy on the questions to get to the baseline that's asked on when someone gets, thinks they have a concussion? You know, you say baseline, but I've seen a lot of kids knocked out, and then, you know, they want to get back in, they sort of talk to the coach. I know with today's concussions being such a major thing, because the kids are stronger and all that type of stuff now with all the special training they get. You know, what's the baseline we're going off of?
I believe that's what the CDC, so we're going to send them to training of the CDC.gov concussion, and the baseline that they utilize
Okay.
in their
that's
program is
okay.
what we would be following.
Their baseline, okay.
Okay, I had a couple of thoughts on this, particularly if this is for insurance purposes. At the very top, it says that it's the Burlington Park and Rec Department concussion policy for young athletes. I was thinking we should add to that for young athletes and participants in any other organized park and rec activities, because not everybody's an athlete. And we have kids that might be, you know, in one of the activities out of the Visco building, and they're in the pool, and they hit their head on a cement surface, and they get a concussion. So I don't think we should just limit it to young athletes. I think we should broaden it so it covers everybody that participates. And, you know, if we have volunteers or teachers teaching kids that are going to be using the playground, the pool, you know, even the treehouse, who knows? A lot of activities you could think of where people might, even two kids might bump heads together. So my thought was, let's broaden it, not just have young athletes.
Would you recommend adding verbiage, or would you just take it out and just leave a concussion policy?
I would recommend adding it probably, because the insurance company might want to see certain bullet points in there, and I can send you something, Kelly. I can make some notes and
Yeah, that'd be
send it
helpful.
over, maybe
Yeah.
for a potential second reading.
Yep.
And then for example, in the second paragraph, it says, any athlete known to sustain a concussion. Sometimes you don't actually know, but you suspect it. So I would change that to known or suspected of having sustained a concussion. Because a lot of times, the victim doesn't know it, but people around them can say, hey, that looks like this person's suffered a concussion or something, a potential head injury. So I'm happy to send you a few thoughts on it, and I think if we broaden it, it'll cover everybody in the program instead of just young athletes who might be participating in an athletic event. And I do see down here, I can see where you borrowed it.
Brookline, yeah, I just saw that. I just saw it. It caught my eye. I was like, oh,
problem.
man.
No problem. No, I think it's good that we're working on it. I think it's good to have it, particularly, you know, training is so important. David, I remember when we were younger, you used to say, well, you got his bell rung. Remember,
Oh,
put you back in the game.
Yeah,
you know?
so that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, like a baseline. Today, like, when you get, so back in our day, you went right back in. There was no, you're out there, you're seeing 7 different people. Where
No, where's the
where
coach?
today, it's, you know, but kids today, like you said, well, that's a good point that you make, is, you know, someone can get hurt during any of our events. And so if we have a more broader scope for all the activities that we got going on through the rec, it'd probably be better for us, especially insurance-wise.
For sure.
And covering ourselves, you know? So that's a good idea.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, we're all set on the concussion policy. Moving on to which one do you want to do next, Brendan?
That was it for new business for the first reading.
Okay,
First readings.
Okay, good. Let's move on to old business. Second reading on, which one's the easy one?
The
Financial
only one we-
assistance? You want to do that one?
I didn't include it in your packet, so I'm
We all saw
not
it.
sure if everyone got it.
We all
You
saw
know,
it
the
last
second
week.
one. Okay. There was no additional feedback after the first meeting, so, and reading.
I think we should move on with the financial one. We had a good conversation about it. It was referenced in our minutes.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve the financial assistance policy?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the financial assistance policy. This is the second reading. Is there any further discussion or comment? Seeing none, the chair will put that motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. That's 3-0-0. No, 3-0, yeah, 3-0-0. There's 2 people not here. The next item of old business is the child abuse prevention policy. This is the second reading also for that particular policy. Brenda, did you want to make any comments on that one before we vote?
I did not have any comments. At this time, I thought it was pretty thorough from what we received from the insurance company. The only thing is if our town council has something they'd like to add, we'll have to bring it back and just make that notification here at the meeting.
Okay, so we can vote on
next
it
meeting.
tonight, and then we can always amend it if
Right.
town council weighs in with some additional thoughts.
Correct.
I thought it looked good the last time we looked at it. I don't think anybody wanted any changes. I think we just may have changed a few Park and Rec references, perhaps to update it. Okay, any further comments or questions on that policy? Seeing none, the chair will ask for a motion to approve the child abuse prevention policy.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, approve the child abuse prevention policy.
Give Jeremy a little, he's got a lot on his plate, so I'll make.
I can't second
first
it, George,
motion.
so I gotta keep you awake, I gotta keep you awake. Okay, it's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, chair votes aye, 3-0-0. Last but not least, the Corey policy. Now, we all have that one, I think, don't we? Or did I just look at one I had in my, I think I looked at one that I
You
already
looked at the
had.
one you had, yes.
Well, I came up with a question as I was looking at it again. On the Corey policy, they talk about like level 1 participants and level 2 participants, and level 1 participants have no usually direct contact with children. Oh, they might only volunteer for one event. Are we doing Corys on them?
So,
Because it says we are.
so
The
yes.
policy says we're going to do a Cory on those people who might volunteer for one event. Do we have the time to do that?
Yes, we do. We currently do that. That's our current process.
Okay.
That's not included in the Corey policy. That's included in the child abuse policy.
Oh, okay.
The Corey policy was more of just changing Park and Rec, similar to the
Okay, I knew
financial
I saw
assistance
Changing it
one.
to Park
Okay.
and Recreation.
Yes.
Okay, but we
yes.
do that.
But it is in the child abuse one, and we do current, that's our current practice now.
Okay.
We don't let anybody volunteer for us who doesn't have a Corey.
All right. All right.
Even if they're volunteering one time.
Yep.
We, Corey, everybody.
All right, good.
Yep.
All right, very good. All right, any questions on the Corey policy? All right, seeing none, the chair will ask for a motion to approve the Corey policy as this is a second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the Corey policy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The chair votes aye, that's 3-0-0. Any further old business or any further new business that anyone would like to bring up tonight? Okay, we have to discuss scheduling issues. Do you have any suggestions for our next meeting, Brendan?
We could do the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, or the 24th if we, I'm just thinking we might want to schedule a second meeting in March in case anything comes out of Ways and Means or capital budget where we have to, make any decisions. We could go with the 24th.
I think the 24th is more likely to get a quorum than the 17th.
Okay.
I'm
You
good.
available, Dave, on the 24th?
Yep.
Does that work for you, Jeremy?
I'm pulling up my work calendar right now to confirm my other calendar is free.
All right,
I am good.
excellent. Well, we don't know about Lindsay, but she's generally pretty flexible with her
I
schedule.
will send that out to the group and just ask
It
who's
might depend
available.
on how far her son's tournament goes, so we'll have to see. Okay, so we'll tentatively, well, actually, let's say it's going to be 3:24 unless we can't get a quorum. It'll be 6 o'clock right here, hopefully. And is there any other business we need to think about?
No.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.